Hello, so today is going to be a very quick video because I was preparing to make the K-drama equivalent of what's going on in C-drama world, which is basically just going to be talking about upcoming 2025 K-dramas. The only thing is I've been again spending a lot of time on this script, and I have like 24 dramas that I plan to mention, and basically while I'm still in the midst of gathering all the details that I'm going to share, and I thought about splitting into two parts because I have half the script ready, but I just decided if you want to hear about all the 2025 dramas, it'd just be nice to have it all in one place. So that video is coming next week. So today is going to be kind of an experimental video. I don't know, but basically this is going to be the monthly drama update series. So yeah, so it's the last day of January that this video is going to come out at least, and I just wanted to update you about my thoughts of the ongoing K-dramas and C-dramas. Yeah, so first up, I'm just going to talk about finishing When the Phone Rings. I should have actually mentioned it in my previous video with all the dramas I watched, but it just kind of escaped my mind. I keep seeing comments about people asking me about the ending of When the Phone Rings, so that is why I will give my 2 cents. And so to talk about my thoughts, I'm gonna go into spoilers, so if you don't want to hear that, please move along. I think this entire video will have spoilers of every single drama that I'm talking about, so you were warned. If you don't really want spoilers, I would not watch this video if I were you, or just skip around for the dramas that you have seen, or if you just don't care, go for it. So anyways, first up, yes. So When the Phone Rings, I finished this. I think it finished airing on January 4th. So that's the day I finished it. And basically the last 2 episodes were like the biggest train wreck I've seen for a K-drama in a long time. It turned into like a makjang. And if you don't know, makjangs are basically just like these super crazy, unrealistic plot lines, like the birth secrets type, like people dying and coming back to life kind of thing. Obviously, When the Phone Rings didn't go that insane with it. I mean, for me, I think what people say it's like straight out of a Wattpad. It's like what people like say and they don't like about it. I personally was enjoying it in a like lighthearted way. I wasn't thinking too deeply about it, so that's why that's why I couldn't really be as disappointed, because I wasn't taking this drama very seriously. The last 2 episodes really solidified my like, oh, I'm not taking this drama seriously, because I know we hear that he is a war correspondent, or that was like his past, but the fact that he just jumps right into the military again, I thought was so random. And the fact that she goes into this war zone, and I mean, in one ways, I kind of like the relationship that she's just like, I'm not going to live without you, basically, is kind of the vibes. But also I wasn't really too happy watching like an hour's worth of her moping about because he was gone. Like, there is no point in just separate. I really don't like it. I think a lot of people agree, but like the breakup trope in the very last 2 episodes, like it is okay to just have happy moments, resolution, like future stuff, but instead we get this random obstacle. He goes away. Okay, and also there's like the entire parallel to like what's going on in like Palestine. I wasn't a fan of it. Like, I don't know why they decided to include it. It felt so random. Because I wasn't taking this drama too seriously, I kind of just like, okay, this is stupid, whatever. And I'm trying to judge the drama for like holistically. I know that people really hated this drama after the last 2 episodes. We're just gonna ignore the last 2 episodes to like give it a review and a rating. I mean, there are definitely better dramas out there, but I think this is enjoyable enough. I would skip through a decent chunk of the last 2 episodes if I were you. I mean, I also did. The only good thing that happened in the last 2 episodes for me was them reuniting in the war zone. But this is also, you have to overcome the idea that they're just in a war zone randomly. Yeah, then he has this nice room and they're waking up to the sunset, and we just move on. And then part of it is they try to wrap it up with all these emotions, and I'm just left feeling like, since when was anyone this close? I don't remember the name of Kyuri's character, but Kyuri, when like she goes missing, Hiju goes missing, she's just like, oh, we gotta find her, and I'm angry at her for doing this. But I'm like, girl, when were you close to each other?
왜 쌤이 미안해요? 희주 씨가 미안해하지. 그동안 나 속이고 재밌었냐? 해도 너무한다. 따질 거야? 사과 받을 거야 꼭.
Then they all gather around for a meal, and I'm like, I don't think any of you guys are actually friends, and I feel like this should feel wholesome and like heartwarming, but I'm just kind of like, I feel like all of you guys are still strangers. Like, we did not get the development that you guys actually have some sort of close relationship. So it's generally what I felt about this drama. It's just like, I feel like bits and pieces were just missing. It just, yeah, could have been better. And I mean, I'll leave it in my top 8 simply because I mean, if you watched my previous video, there weren't a lot of dramas that I really, really loved in 2024 anyways. So, you know, here's to hoping that 2025 will be a much better year. And with that, we'll get started on all the dramas that I was watching in 2025. Okay, so first off, we're starting the year super strong with Love Scout that started on January 3rd. And basically, this is just about a single father who ends up as the secretary to this very cranky headhunter boss. I don't know if cranky is the right word. She's kind of cold and really dedicated to her job. She's a workaholic, and yeah, he just somehow ends up becoming her secretary. And basically, yeah, he just is the perfect secretary, which is the Korean title. Actually, it's just like My Perfect Secretary. And then they just kind of fall in love. So this is everything. This actually, I feel like, is easily gonna make my top K-dramas of the year. It's so good. Right now, I actually have this sitting at a 9 out of 10. I think this drama is doing a really good job with portraying how being a single father has like good qualities, because he's super caring and he's just like a fool for his daughter, and I think all of those are really sweet. And I love how it takes the characteristics of being a father and he's able to apply it to his boss, because being a secretary is a very similar job. Yeah, because you're really just babying her, and she is, you know, so focused on work that she's still a child emotionally, because she's had some stuff happen in the past, and you know, she's like focusing all in on work that she kind of ignores everything else. And so he's kind of just like picking up after her the way he would a daughter. Obviously, they aren't actually like father-daughter situation. And the only thing that bothers me is the use of like a couple of like cliche tropes. It's just like the moments where they end up together, the plot line to get there, I think bothers me a little bit, because it's like you can do anything else to have the two end up alone. Why do you have to do this kind of cliche thing? And it's just a little frustrating, because I watch so many K-dramas, so watching like the same tropes over and over is a little disappointing, and some of them are just a little bit unrealistic. And it's just like, I feel like you can use a realistic plot device to get to the same point. So I think that's the only little frustrating bit. And it's also because I like this drama so much that I have so many expectations of it. I just wish it was a little bit more original. Otherwise, I really love the characters themselves. I think it's a little bit refreshing to have a single father who's not really like, I don't know, shy. I feel like my biggest comparison is going to be One Spring Night, because it's very, very similar. It's a single father with Han Ji-min. She's literally, yeah, she's just with these two single fathers for whatever reason. Yeah, and basically in that one, Jung Hae-in was like super like, I'm not going to talk about my feelings. I'm a single father. I can't be with you. So it's really nice that in this one, the male lead is not acting the same way, because being a single father is not a flaw. I want them to be confident. So far, they also incorporated a trope that I really, really hate, which is a childhood connection. Not really childhood connection, but like something along the lines of that, like with a parent involved, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's just like, I could survive without having these tropes. The one good thing is from the preview, it looks like they are going to resolve it very quickly, and I'm like, okay, fine, better than like dragging it out. But yeah, it's just all of these little things that are like irritating me, because otherwise this is such a good drama. Like, this really should be a 10, because it's really good. It's a mature romance with adult leads that act like adults. But yes, that's basically it. And next up is our super big budget, maybe highly anticipated drama, and that is going to be When the Stars Gossip. Basically, it's about this commander of this space rocket team, and they're going up into space to do some scientific research, and they take along a tourist because he just pays a lot of money or whatever, and but basically, because like he ends up seeing this like really rich billionaire girl, and the father, in order to get the approval to marry his daughter, kind of sends him up into space to do some like medical stuff. It's a lot about like creating life in space and how the zero gravity does things that like make things that aren't possible on Earth possible in space. So that is like the plot. So this drama, in a way, I was like anticipating, because I do really like Gong Hyo-jin. Gong Hyo-jin, I've like seen every one of her works. She's like actually one of my favorite actresses. And paired with Lee Min-ho, it was something to be very, very excited about, because I mean, you love seeing veteran actors together. I think that's just lovely. And so this is a very, very expensive drama. It's a Netflix drama. It's in space. You've got an expensive cast. I'm not gonna lie, I was always hesitant to this idea, because I'm not that into space, and I don't know why it has to be space. And that's actually exactly what I'm feeling right now. I think we're on episode 8, and it's just so messy. It was at first I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure where we're going with this. Okay, it's getting good. And now we're at like, this is so all over the place. Like, I don't know what's going on. The ratings I think are dropping like significantly low, which is such a shame considering they spent a lot of money on this. So they kind of want it to do well. Yeah, it isn't that great. I'd say one thing that I started to get really annoyed with is the messy relationships. She was kind of in a relationship and he was kind of in a relationship before they went out to space, and the fact that they are in love is just not believable. I don't know when they developed any of it, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand the obsession with fertility in space. I think they say they've had some very questionable dialogue about life and like the fetus is like a living thing or whatever else when it's literally just some cells, and technically it's illegal for a very valid reason to be creating life in space. So I think the whole like morality, ethical thing that they're going with is not a good enough, strong enough like plot point. Like, I don't get it. And they're so serious about this entire fertility thing. And then they have this romance thing going on. It's just all sorts of messy and weird. And the space logic is like, sometimes they're trying to be like logical and abide by the laws of like space stuff. And then sometimes they just don't. Like, one thing is, you're not able to really get pregnant up in space is how this episode starts.
거기서는 임신을 할래야 할 수가 없습니다. 사람은 거기서 섹스도 못하고 임신도 못해요.
우주에선 임신을 못해? 거시기도 못하고? 왜?
무중력이라. 남자하고 여자의 그 케미 이게 자연스럽지가 않아요. 붕 떠. 오케이. 정확히 말하면 고추로 피가 몰려야 서는 거잖아요.
그렇지.
근데 일단 고추로 피가 몰리기가 쉽지가 않고요. 정자도 남자한테 가면서 야 어디가 길일까? 응? 헷갈릴 거고요. 무중력이라. 없어 중요한가?
실력보다 뭘 어떻게 해?
But of course, they still manage to do the deed in space, even though there's literally a whole beginning thing like, oh, it's not really possible. So, I mean, obviously we don't know the direction it's going, but I'm assuming that she's going to be pregnant from the space stuff. And yeah, it's just kind of everywhere. I think I will continue to watch it simply because I'm curious to where it's going. I wouldn't be surprised if I ended up dropping this. And right now I have this rated at a 7 or 7.5. Kind of have to see how this is going, but I feel like she's on her way to a 7. It's not looking so good right now. Okay, and the next one that I'm watching is a study group, and this started January 23rd, so this barely started. I think it's 2 episodes in, and basically this is not my genre, which is like, if you've watched any of my drama videos, it's very clearly romance. And I only really am watching this because I love Minhyun. I originally was a really big 101 fan. And what's funny is I didn't really like Minhyun back then, but then he acted in Alchemy of Souls and I absolutely fell in love with his character from then. And from now on, I am a huge, huge Minhyun fan. And so I just saw a lot of clips here and there of study group with Minhyun in it. And eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm not really watching anything else on air. Why not? So that is why I'm watching it. I think so far it's cute and it's funny. I think Minhyun is really stealing the show. I'm not gonna lie, if the main lead was not Minhyun, I probably wouldn't be watching this. So for now, I'm just kind of really just enjoying seeing Minhyun on the screen. It's kind of interesting. I'm wondering if it's going to get a little deeper. It's a little very much unserious because he's this guy that's like super, super bad at studying, and he just has this really powerful like he has like really good like physical strength and abilities, but he really just wants to study. So I mean, I feel like here and there they might sprinkle some like actual depth to it, like the fact that you can love things that you're bad at, and you can be good at things that you don't really love. Like they're telling him like you should just be an athlete, like don't study, and he's like no, but I actually like studying, which is really funny considering how bad he is. And you do have to take a little bit of like some unseriousness with this because it is impossible that he is this bad at studying with the amount of effort he puts. Like, how is that actually possible? Like, even if you memorize, I think you would still be better off than him. But anyways, yeah, so it's a very unserious drama, watching it very lightly. Yeah, it's pretty cute so far. I wouldn't have really high anticipation for this being like a really good drama to me, but so far, pretty not bad. Like, I think I find myself like laughing, and he's adorable. Okay, I feel like that's just like the entire point is I'm watching it for Min Hyun. He's very cute, very adorable. I have this at an 8 right now, and I don't know, maybe if we get a little bit more depth to the storyline, it could go up, but I don't really see it getting much higher than an 8. And so there's quite a couple of C-dramas that have already finished at the time that I'm filming this. And so for the first one I'm going to talk about The Blossoming Love, and there were 4 K-dramas that kind of came out at the same time, and so that's going to be Blossoming Love, Moonlight Mystique, Flourished Peony, and then Guardians of the Dafeng. Within the 4, this is my favorite. I think this one also started the earliest. Basically, you have this like evil girl and good guy, and then she just kind of falls in love with him and just chases him around and like basically switches over to the good side because she likes him so much. And basically it's like a girl chasing the guy, and obviously he eventually just gets moved by her. It's got some whole like demon versus good situation going on. And so for me, I really like this because it is refreshing to see a girl chase the guy. And I like the idea that she's like bad and she's not so sweet. And I like the persistence. I think it's a lot of fun seeing that dynamic. I'm not gonna lie, as they are starting to get romantically involved, I'm starting to lose my interest a little bit. I think it's because she's getting tamer and tamer with everything that's going on. And I think it's getting a lot more plot heavy than her being like adorable and like chasing him around and like flustering him. I think the beginning was a lot more interesting with that. All the C-dramas that I'm currently watching are pretty mid. So I would say this is like an 8. 8 out of 10, and I think I'm on episode 25, 26 of it, so I still need to finish it up to have like my full thoughts, and I do plan on finishing it, so we will have already 4 done C-dramas. Well, hopefully. I don't really know if I'll finish all 4 done C-dramas in January alone. So I'm on a good rate to beat the number of C-dramas that I watched in 2024 at least. Okay, so next up is Moonlight Mystique. I think I started this one next after The Blossoming Love. And basically to me, this just feels like Story of Kuning Palace with the bad boy and Bailu playing like this good girl. Basically, she has an obsession about becoming an immortal because an immortal saved her when she was younger. And yeah, basically she ends up doing some stuff, gets involved with this dude because she ends up like eating, swallowing, getting immersed with this like object thing, which kind of reminds me of My Roommate is a Gumiho, where she eats his like pearl ball thing. Yeah, and basically the two stick together because she has this object that he needs, and like she wants to become an immortal, so they kind of just like are trying to accomplish their missions together, and along the way they fall in love. And for me, I just don't really understand why he changed his emotions. I feel like for her more or less makes sense because he's like half protecting her and being good to her because she has this object. And so I feel like that makes sense that you could fall in love with someone that is being nice to you regardless of their actual intentions. Yeah, otherwise I don't really see the chemistry. The plot is kind of I'm not really invested in it for whatever reason. And so that is kind of why I'm not really into Moonlight Mystique. There's nothing super iconic about it. And then I feel like characters are disappearing left and right. I'm not too big of a fan of that. I'd rather they all be alive. There's not a lot of depth to it, if you ask me, like very strong emotional scenes that I really connect with. And I also think very similarly to The Blossoming Love that once they got together is also where my interest started to just go downhill. Yeah, for just everything airing so far, I just don't really feel the chemistry. So, and I didn't realize that this would be such a common occurrence of my criticism of dramas. Like, I feel like back in the day, I thought everyone had chemistry, and I literally never saw when they didn't have chemistry. But for now, yeah, it's kind of a shame, but 'tis life. And so next is Flourished Peony, and within all the C-dramas I'm watching, I feel like this one's of the highest quality. The story has a lot of depth and it's a lot more interesting. I would say my main issue is first of all, this one is a huge, like, he teases her and he kind of like messes with her to make her stronger and like make her independent, which I like can enjoy and like. But the thing is, it's just kind of like, to me, I kind of feel like he's a little too mean to her. It's like, if you're gonna help her, like, do you have to be like this? And he's somewhere in between like good and bad, and it's kind of weird. I feel like if he was just a bad boy doing all these good things, it's fine, but he's like nice to her and mean to her sometimes, and I'm getting kind of like whiplash, and I'm not really sure how I feel about him. That was like one of my issues with this drama. I think the humor in this is slightly better. Like, I don't know, it's kind of weird because, like, I'll give you an example of like one scene. He's like pretending to make her kill herself, and like she has a dull knife and she basically thinks she's gonna kill herself, and I'm thinking that's kind of extreme like joke to play on someone, and I feel like we're supposed to think about it as like, oh, he's like not a good guy, right? And so that makes it more interesting because it's like he's morally gray. But for me, I'm just left like, do I like you? Do I not like you? And I don't know. It's supposed to be funny that she's like so serious about like killing herself in the moment, but I'm also just kind of like, why are you doing this to this poor girl? So that's why I feel like as a couple, they make sense. They really balance each other out, and they're both like strong, intelligent people. But my next beef with this drama is just the unrealisticness of some of these women is like kind of insane. So first off, I think all of her sidekick friends are like ridiculous. Like the brawny girl who just keeps beating up everyone on like short notice. I'm just like, oh my God, can you calm down? It is so annoying. And then the other friend who, the very first one, like her co-owner girl, like she is so weak. Like, why did you write a character so weak? Like, why can't we have two strong women? No, we only have like, for some reason, only the female lead is the strong, independent woman. Like, the other girl, no, she really wants her evil husband back. And, like, in a way, I can get that because, like, when people are in those situations, it's like familiar, you know, the abuse is familiar. A lot of victims tend to go back to like their abuser. I feel like, okay, yeah, that's like an interesting message plot line to go with. Okay, like what are you doing with it? And where they went with it, I don't know. I just didn't see the point. I wasn't very happy seeing it. And it was just building my frustration because the brawny girl who was her other friend is also pretty like useless. Like, why can't we have multiple strong women? We have to have only one strong woman and her dumb friends. And so I wasn't enjoying that they made the story like that. Her medical friend is like cool, so we like her, but also characters in this one are disappearing left and right. And just thinking about that, there's just so many random misfortunes that happen in this drama, and that's just can be really, really frustrating to watch. I think having setbacks is fine, but the setbacks in this drama are so crazy that I'm just like, why is this happening? I feel like my biggest comparison is like Blossoms in Adversity. When they had all their setbacks, it was realistic, it made sense, but this one is just like, how the hell do you recover from this? And a lot of times, like, he's the knight in shining armor, and it really doesn't feel like she is put in situations where she can save herself. So I think that is why I'm not enjoying this drama as much as I should, because I really wanted to like it as much as I did Blossoms in Adversity, but currently, yeah, not so much, even though I'd say that this one probably should be the best quality work within the 4 C-dramas that came out around the same time. Okay, and lastly, I will be talking about Guardians of the Dafeng. I actually think this one started airing first, and I guess I'm talking about this last because I like it the least, but also I am the least far in this. I think I'm only like 13 episodes in. The rest of them I was solidly like 20 something in. So this is about a modern office worker who enters a fantasy-filled Dafeng dynasty, taking on a new identity as a night watchman, which is just responsible for supervising officials and solving cases for the people of Dafeng. And basically he uses his modern knowledge, scientific understanding, and reasoning skills to crack cases, earning the title of Dafeng's top investigator. And basically the show just follows him solving the cases and protecting the peace and stability of Dafeng. This one, I'm not sure how I feel about the comedy just yet. It's a little bit of that slapstick humor that I'm not really into. And my thing is, I am going to get to this drama until we see this female lead, because I honestly don't think I've really seen them interact yet. It looks like it's a romance thing going on, so I want to see what their dynamic is, and decide whether or not I want to finish it. Like, look at this poster. It looks like it's a romance drama, but we haven't gotten anything built yet, and we're on episode 13. So I am just going to stick it out until I see these two in a screen together and interacting. But until then, I don't really know. So far, yeah, I'm not too invested. This is a really big hit or miss. People really love it or really hate it. But yes, so I need to keep pushing my way through this. I don't really have much to say about it at the moment because I'm still in the beginning pieces. And yeah, I don't know how I'm going to like it. So yes. Okay, and lastly, I started The Perfect Match. And so this is just about 5 sisters and them getting married. That's literally the entire plot. So basically, this is giving Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, quite a lot with the Raisin episode I just saw. And I'm actually quite fond of this at the moment. I do know all the male leads are written really, really poorly, and I can generally be more forgiving of this. I think the entire tone establishes itself as very lighthearted, so I'm not taking it very seriously. If you do, it's going to be hard to like this drama because the characters are written so poorly, and I think a lot of people's main complaint is like, why are we giving these women, these like great written women with very lackluster male leads? A lot of them are not very likable, and yeah, I would really agree. As a romance girl, it's kind of interesting. I usually don't like things with a lot of cast, but I think I really love the sisterly bond that they have going on, which is why I'm really sticking it out for now. I do easily see this pushing a little too many of my buttons and like dropping it, but for now I am enjoying it. I'm actually most invested. So basically we have like the Jane equivalent, which is the older sister, and then we have the Elizabeth equivalent, who is the main character, who is the third sister. And basically, yeah, the third sister has her match, and then the oldest, I'm actually just most invested in the older sister, and she is with the actor that played Su Rongqing in The Princess Royal, and I only see him as Su Rongqing for some reason, which is really funny. He's playing a kind of similar character. He's like the scholar, kind of shy guy, and yeah, low-key, I just see him as Su Rongqing, and I don't even remember his character name, but I'm most invested in his love line with the eldest sister because I like the eldest sister the most, and I like him the most as a character. Like, he's the only character that has not done anything completely stupid yet. So, like, the male lead is the guy in the double, Wang Ying-xue? Wang something. But he and the third sister, like, they're the Darcy and the Elizabeth, but honestly, they went kind of far with it trying to replicate the Pride and Prejudice aspect, because right before they get together, he has this entire speech about how her mom is like vulgar or something, and it like replicates the Pride and Prejudice thing about Darcy saying that Elizabeth's family is like weird, so that's why he struggled with his feelings for such a crude, vulgar family or whatever. So like they have this dialogue, but honestly, when that dialogue was dropped, I was like, what in the world? Like, what did that have to do with anything? Like, it felt very unrelated, and suddenly they're just like, oh, we're like a Pride and Prejudice kind of thing going on. But anyways, yeah, the male lead is like, okay, not my favorite character, but I think the only thing that I'm enjoying is like the fact that it's a bunch of actors and actresses that I do like and adore. Yeah, I think the plotline is a little like, yeah, you have to really be very forgiving of it. I think one of the craziest things that they did, though, is there was a villain male character, and he kind of like forces himself upon one of the sisters, and he's later going to be someone else's love line. I think that is the craziest thing. But yeah, it's kind of weird that the writing in this, all the male leads are written the way they are. Like, why can't they be normal and good? Instead, they have to be really jerks and kind of, yeah, they're kind of awful and not very interesting, but we have them dating our female leads for whatever reason. And yeah, I would not take it too seriously. It can be enjoyable and cute if you don't take it too seriously. If you do take it seriously, this could be pretty angering. And yeah, I'm a little worried how this will go, though. I think I'm 10 episodes in. I'm really waiting for our eldest sister love line, but once that's over, I don't know what I will be looking forward to. So this is a little bit concerning if I will continue this, but actually within everything, all now 5 C-dramas that I've mentioned, this is actually the one I'm most interested in at the moment. I really want the next episodes, but I think it's just because I want to see the love line. Once the love line plot line is done, I might also be done with this show. Okay, and with that, that is the end of all my January updates. This one was super, super rushed just because I didn't finish my script, so please excuse the quality of this video. Next week, we will be back with a more better quality video, but also I wasn't really sure what direction I was taking this, so I didn't even really know how to script it, and I really just kind of winged it, and I will avoid doing so in the future, but you know, this is a very quick filler video because I am working on some other stuff. So with that, come back for next week, the 2025 updates. I think that is a more interesting video. I'm very curious to see what you guys are curious about, and if there's any more that I'm missing out on. Yeah, 2025 is looking pretty good right now, actually, because I'm like working on that video, but it is looking pretty good right now, so I am kind of excited for this year. Hopefully, at least it'll be better than 2024. C-drama so far, not looking so hot, but K-dramas, yeah, we might be back. And as always, please join my Discord. It's kind of growing, and I quite like that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.